Hello, my lovely chit chatters. Today we are going to talk about the 10 most common mistakes that you're making with your spoken English. And I'm sure you're looking at these and saying, I'm making a few of these for sure, if not all of them. But today we're going to talk about each one of these 10. I'm going to talk about an explanation and correction for each one of them. And I'm also going to give you tips and tricks to make sure that you never ever make these mistakes again. And this one single video is going to be enough to remove all these mistakes from your spoken English and make you this fantastically fluent and advanced speaker. So let's get going. Mistake number 1, who versus whom. Who did you give the book to, or whom did you give the book to? Which one shall we use? Now, here's the trick that I'm going to teach you. Rephrase the sentence. And this who or whom, if you can replace it with a him, her, or a he, she. Let's see. Did you give the book to he, or did you give the book to him? Which one is correct? Did you give the book to him? So if you can replace it with a him, you say, whom did you give the book to? Let's take another sentence. Who is knocking at the door, or whom is knocking at the door? Now, rephrase this. Is he knocking at the door, or is him knocking at the door? He is knocking at the door, right? So, who is knocking at the door is correct. It's simple. If it's him, her, it's whom. If it's he, she, it's who. And the trick is, him has an extra M and whom has an extra M, and that's the way to remember this. Mistake number 2, I versus me. Now look at these two sentences. John and I went to the party, or John and me went to the party. How do we decide this? And it's a very common mistake. Now here's the rule. This compound element, John and me or John and I, this compound element, if this is the subject of the sentence, use I. And if this is the object of the sentence, use me. But that sounds a little confusing, doesn't it? So here we are. I'm going to give you an easy trick to follow to make this very simple to understand. Remove John. We don't like John. We just want to go with I or me. So once you remove the other element, I went to the party or me went to the party. Which one is correct? Now you know that I went to the party is correct. And also remember, when I and John were in the subject, there was supposed to be I. So as per both the rules, John and I went to the party is correct. Now, 2 more sentences. They invited John and I to the party, or they invited John and me to the party. Now, who is the subject of this sentence? They. So the compound element is now the object in the sentence, and so it should be John and me. But remove John. Like we said, we don't like John. So they invited I to the party, or they invited me to the party. Now you know that me sounds more correct. So by both the rules, they invited John and me to the party is correct. Simple, wasn't it? Mistake number 3, less versus few. Again, a very common mistake. Now let's take a look at these two sentences. There were less people in the room, or there were few people in the room. Which one should we use? And what is the rule? Well, less is used with uncountable nouns, mass nouns. And these uncountable mass nouns are usually considered singular. Few is used with plural countable nouns. So, people is a plural countable noun, so there were few people in the room. Let's take some more examples. There is less sugar in my coffee. She has less experience in this field, because sugar and experience are both uncountable nouns. There are few apples in the fridge. He has fewer books than her, because apples and books are plural countable nouns. We use few. But now let's say I'm still confused. I'm not sure that I've understood how to use, whether to use few or whether to use less. Here's a trick that I'm going to give you. Replace it replace that either with number of or amount of. Now, let's say I have small number of apples or amount of apples. Number of apples, right? So when you can say a number of something, it means you can count them and that becomes few. I have a small number of apples, I have few apples. I have a small number of sugar or amount of sugar. Amount of sugar, right? Because it is uncountable. So if you have a small amount of sugar, then you have less sugar. Mistake number 4, much versus many. I have much friends or I have many friends. Which one is correct? Okay, once again, if you can count something individually, then use many. Many friends, many books, many apples, many cars. And if you can't count something individually, then use much. I have much water, much time, much money. I know you can count cash individually, but money as a whole is considered an uncountable noun. I have much money. I wish I had much money. So here are some examples for you. How much water did you drink? There isn't much time left. How many books did you buy? And there are many students in the classroom. Mistake number 5, another commonly confused pair of words, lie versus lay. I'm going to lay down or I'm going to lie down. Which one is correct? Now here's the first tip. Lay requires an indirect object. So you lay the book down or you please lay the table. Lie does not require any object. The cat lies in the sun. So I am going to lie down is correct because there is no indirect object here. But this does look a little confusing. So I'm going to give you another very super easy trick that you can use. Lay means to place something down or set something down. Lay the book on the table, lay the cat on the mat. Lie means to recline or to incline back in a horizontal position. He likes to lie down and watch television. There is one area of confusion, which is that the past tense of lie is lay. So yesterday, he lay on the couch all day. Now we'll talk about this later, but in the present tense, you have understood how to differentiate between lie and lay, and that is super easy. Mistake number 6, good versus well. She sings well or she sings good. Which one is correct? Now here's the tip. Use good when you're describing adjectives and use well when you're describing verbs. Now what are we describing here? We're describing her singing, which is a verb. So we're going to say well. She sings well. You would say this is a good book, he's a good student, because good is describing the noun book or student. But you would say dances well, plays well, sings well, because these are all verbs, and for verbs we use well. Mistake number 7, incorrect use of comparatives or superlatives. She is more prettier than her sister or she is prettier than her sister. Which one is correct? I hear this all the time, especially in Bombay. Do not use more or most with adjectives that are already in the comparative or superlative form. For example, more smarter, more faster, more cuter, or the most prettiest are all wrong. We would say, she is the most pretty or she is the prettiest. This is the most biggest cake that I have seen. No, this is the biggest cake that I have seen. Think about this. We say prettier, but we say more beautiful. How do we decide when to say more and when to add the ER? There is a trick here as well. When the adjective is long, longer than 2 syllables, now it's already so long that if we add the ER to it, it'll perhaps become even longer. So if we were to say beautifuler, it would sound like quite a mouthful. So we say more beautiful, more interesting, more talented, more difficult, more patient, because these are long adjectives. Now, when the adjective is short, then we just add an ER to it, like tougher, calmer, smarter, sweeter. Mistake number 8, since versus for. I have been living here since 5 years. I have been living here for 5 years. Which one is correct? Okay. Since is used to talk about the starting point of an action or an event, like the exact point where something started and it's continuing till now. They have been friends since childhood. Starting point, childhood. I have been running Chet Chat since 2015. Starting point, 2015. Yes, it's been about 9 years. For is used to talk about the duration of an event. It talks about how long something has been going on for. I have been living here for 5 years. Duration, 5 years. She has been working here for a week. Duration, 1 week. Mistake number 9, overuse of very. Well, this is not technically a mistake, but using very too often can make your English sound basic and repetitive. So how about you learn up a few of these advanced words and then you use it every now and then and you're going to sound like this fluent English speaker. Very easy. Effortless. She makes it appear effortless. Very important. Crucial. This is a crucial must-win match for India. Very interesting. Fascinating. Very cold. Freezing. Oh my God, it's freezing outside. Very hot. Weather. Scorching. It's a scorching day. Very hot. Liquid. Scalding. This coffee is scalding. Mistake number 10, the incorrect use of the present perfect tense. I have seen him yesterday or I saw him yesterday. Now, the simple past tense is used to talk about actions that were completed at a specific point of time in the past. And these would carry a time reference like yesterday, last year, 2010, etc. So I saw him yesterday is correct. Or he ran the marathon last year is also correct. The present perfect tense, however, should not be used with any time references like yesterday, etc. So what is the present perfect tense? The present perfect tense talks about actions that were completed at an unspecified time in the past and have relevance to the present. So while they were completed in the past, that is not important as to when they were completed in the past. What is important is they have relevance to the present. So because it was an unspecified period in the past, we cannot say yesterday, day before, etc. Let's take examples of the present perfect tense. I have been to the store, unspecified time. She has visited Paris several times, unspecified time again. They have finished their homework. Unspecified time, but it has an impact on the present. So there you have it, 10 common mistakes and a detailed explanation of and tips and tricks on how you can avoid these mistakes going forward. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, show me some love, leave me a comment below with the hashtag ChetChatters, and see you next week.